Welcome, race fans, to a special event brought to you by KMA Racing. This is the monthly race for PAD 266. Tonight is all about PAD. I am Scott Kolovic. This is KMA TV. We are sitting out here at Talladega trying to spread the word about people against distracted driving, something that we take very seriously here with KMA Racing and KMA TV. We are all about doing everything we can to keep our drivers safe and sound out there on and off of the track. Tonight's race is 100 laps around Talladega, 2.66 miles speedway. We are driving the Chevy Silverados and the Toyota Tundras. Two great vehicles, and we're going to see a lot of great paints out here. Drivers have gone to great extents to look pretty out here. Purple rims, the purple being the favorite color of Nikki Clenny. Nikki Clenny, the daughter of Mike Clenny. And we're going to talk about that situation further down the road tonight. But basically, Nikki Clenny unfortunately lost her life due to a distracted driving incident. It was not her fault. She was actually a passenger in the back seat, but the driver decided to make a bad decision and pick up the phone. Nonetheless, a terrible crash ensued and Nikki Clenny lost her life. Now her father, Mike Clenny, vowing to do everything he can in the future to prevent tragedies like these happening again. And he started the organization of People Against Distracted Driving. We are all about putting the phones down, put them in the back seat, lock them up in the glove box, put them in the trunk, throw them out the window. You need to have two hands on the wheel, two hands on the road. All right, gentlemen, ladies, drivers are lining up for their qualifying. They are done qualifying, taking a look at our starting grid out here tonight. Out there on the front line, we do have Nathan Sylvia pulling down a 53.371 side by side with Richard Brose with a 53.406. Travis Browder, third position, 53.413. Donald Sadusky, 53.416 in position 4. And J.R. Johnson, position 5 with 53.436. KMA's very own Gary Whitmer Jr., position 6 tonight. Edward Bray, Black Talon Racing. Position 7, Donald Stewart, Boston Red Sox truck. Position 8, Greg McClendon. Hey, big shout out there to our Friday night sponsor, Greg McClendon and Blaze Pizza. Position 9, Michael Johnson, rounding out our top 10 tonight. Position 11, representing Black Talon, Lee Staples, side by side with Rob Haynes. Nick Reynolds back in position 13, along with Dustin Markham, P14. Everett Lane, position 15. Mark Jackson, position 16 tonight. Ed Hewitt, position 17. Paul Sheldon, 18th tonight. Ronald Klein, back in position 20. William Wise, say big shout out there to William Wise, out here showing his support for PAD, along with Lee Ryerson, position 22. Kevin Scott Nelson, position 23. Marcus McFadden, position 24. Ben Gear, Joel Guy, Danny Rudy, taking up those final 3 spots for 25th, 26th, and 27th. 100 laps out here at Talladega, ladies and gentlemen. Going to be an exciting night out here tonight. Hopefully these drivers will be able to get her done. Green flag out here tonight. Had a very good race last night. Only had 4 cautions out on the super speedway. Going to be looking at some great paints out here tonight. A lot of great drivers showing their support for PAD. Richard Brose, Nathan Sylvia out there on that front line, getting ready to kick off 100 laps at Talladega in the monthly race for pad. Don't drive distracted, ladies and gentlemen. And tonight, hopefully, these drivers will show us how to remain focused and to put on a good show out here at Talladega. Starts and restarts always done on leader's discretion. All good races start off with a great restart. Big shout out there to Richard Brose on that front line, our Monday night sponsor. Always cool to have our Monday night sponsor and our Friday night sponsors in the race together. Unfortunately, our Tuesday night sponsor not able to make it tonight, but nonetheless, a big shout out there to Jason Russo and Pro Automotive. Richard Brose, Richie B's Pizza, and Greg McClendon with Blaze Pizza. The monthly race for pad, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Richard Brose side by side with Nathan Sylvia, kicking her off.
Green flag.
Green flag is in the air. Crossing that start-finish line at just over 120 miles per hour. Outside lane, being led by Richard Brose. Already getting a little bit of a jump, but that does change as they exit out of turn 2. Not expecting to see a lot of 3-wide racing early on, ladies and gentlemen. But as they do cycle through their green flag pit stops tonight, and the pack does break apart a little bit, we will be seeing 3-wide. Last night we actually saw 4-wide racing. Very exciting race last night. Drivers off to a very good start. Everybody looking extremely focused early on. One straggler in the back, I do believe that is Marcus McFadden. Nope, it is indeed Marcus McFadden. Struggling in the back a little bit, but I'd tell you what, Marcus McFadden out here showing his support for pad. Very nice looking truck being there, driven there by Marcus in the number 40. People Against Distracted driving, one of many great looking trucks out here we're going to take a look at as we do travel around this 2.66 mile speedway. Ed Hewitt in the number 30 side by side there with the 64, making a good run on the outside. Number 11 pad truck Greg McClendon. Big shout out there to Greg McClendon showing his support. Side by side with the number 30 of Ed Hewitt, making some ground on that inside lane. Another logo on the side of the number 68. Michael Johnson in the 004 showing his support for pad as well. And Greg McClendon hot on the tail of Edward Bray. Edward Bray showing his support for pad as well. Number 78 of Donald Stewart showing his support for the Boston Red Sox as he gets up onto the Remembering Nicky Chevy Silverado on that outside lane. Gary Whitmer Jr. in the number 5 driving the Angels Never Die, showing his support for Nikki Clenny. Now, as I did mention, folks, purple was the color of Nikki Clenny. So to honor Nikki Clenny and all the victims of distracted driving, these drivers oftentimes will throw a little splash of purple on their vehicles, not only in the Chevy Silverados and Toyota Tundras, but as well as the B-Class and the Cup cars. Here at KMA Racing, we try to spread the word the best we can about the dangers of distracted driving. Number 37, J.R. Johnson right now sitting in 5th place. Headblade showing his support with the purple rims and the pad logo on the rear quarter panel. Lap 4 of 100. No lead changes. Everybody holding safe and steady. Side-by-side racing with Richard Brose Nathan Sylvia tucked up onto the rear end of Richard Brose. Richard, our Monday night sponsor, side by side with the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Gary Whitmer looking very sharp. Second position on that outside lane. Hoping to see Mom Whitmer out there on that KMA TV chat sooner or later tonight. Big shout out there to the fans on the KMA TV chat. Talk to me throughout the night. Hard racing going on right here with these leaders, but they are doing a fantastic job. Number 66, Edward Bray, holding very solid position on that outer lane. Number 64, his teammate with Black Talon. Very respectable distance off of the number 11. Huge field out here tonight at Talladega. Big shout out there to Chris Hogue, unfortunately not able to join us, and we have a spinner in the back. Caution will not fly. That is number 20, that is Danny Rudy. Unfortunately, Danny Rudy going for a ride. No caution will be thrown. Not sure if Danny got down onto the apron or not. Nonetheless, I'm just happy there was no caution, but unfortunate, tough break there for Danny Rudy. Travis Browder in the number 51 showing his Sport 4 pad in the Toyota Tundra. Eminem style. Browder looking very sharp out there. Browder having a very good week this week within the iRacing, actually getting a win in at Dover, I do believe. Right along with Dustin Markham. Dustin Markham started 14th, currently in 13th position. Three wide action with the Playboy Dustin Markham up there in that purple truck. Ed Hewitt onto the outside. Ronald Klein, RTK, shooting that middle lane, flying past the number 30 of Ed Hewitt. Ronald Klein running with RTK Motorsports, getting up onto the rear end. Back to double file, number 54, Nick Reynolds representing Southeast on that inside lane. Nick started 13th, currently in 15th position. Getting a little bit of a push there from the number 3 of Mark Jackson. Big shout out there to Mama Jackson, Mama Patty we call her. She's out there on that KMA TV chat along with the better half, the old lady, Kristen. Big shout out there too. The folks out there on KMA TV chat. Number 54, Nick Reynolds running past the number 30, trying to get a run. Ed Hewitt possibly wanting more of that three wide action. Richard Brose, Donald Sadusky, Gary Whitmer, Nathan Sylvia up there in front. Travis Browder, Donald Stewart, and the number 37 of J.R. Johnson making a very good run out here tonight. Lap 9 of 100, ladies and gentlemen, off to an extremely good start out here in the monthly Race 4 pad. 266, do not drive distracted. Ladies and gentlemen, phones down. Keeping it safe with pad, remembering Nikki Kaleni. If you'd like to help out support the cause, go to padd.org. Lots of information. Get a t-shirt, get a wristband. Get involved. Tell your friends, tell your grandmother, tell your children, especially tell your children. Today's younger generation, high rate for texting and driving. Back in my day, folks, the worst thing that I had to contend with was a radio station and rubbernecking, but with today's technology, every day, actually in my own hometown here of Springfield, saw a lady driving down the road, had the dog on her lap and the phone, and was texting away. Nathan Sylvia with a good move up front. Changing lanes to that outside lane. Donald Sadusky staying in tune. Edward Bray in the number 66, showing his support out there for Pad. Started 7th, right now in 9th position. Up on the nose of the number 66 of Edward Bray, getting you down onto that asphalt. It's about as close as you can get right there without making contact. Remembering Nicky looking at the rear end of the number 5 of Gary Whitmer, looking very sharp out there, but very, very busy. Number 11 of Greg McClendon, one text or call could wreck it all. Greg showing his support for people against distracted driving. Big shout out to all these drivers out here tonight. Off to a great start here at this very special event. Brought to you by KMA Racing. This is the monthly race for Pad. Ronald Klein possibly wanting to go 3 wide with the number 2 of Dustin Markham. Dustin Markham showing support. Being a purple Playboy tonight. Appreciate the support there, Dustin Markham. Number 2 of Dustin Markham locking it up with the number 68, trying to get something happening. 68 belonging to Rob Haynes. Rob Haynes showing his support for Pad. I'll tell you what, folks, by the time we get done with tonight's race, we're going to be going to bed with thoughts of purple and thoughts of Pad on our minds. Every morning when you wake up, you should think about Pad before you get into your vehicle. 3 wide is the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Sliding backwards, Donald Stewart in the Boston Red Sox going to the rear of the field. Looking at the number 32 of William Wise. Big shout out there too. William Wise, very respectable driver, showing his support. With a little bit of purple on those wheels, driving the Magical Butter. Gonna get a close-up look of this Magical Butter. Big shout out there to William Wise. We got caution.
Caution.
Looking at Ben Gear. Not sure if Ben Gear was at fault or not. Actually, it happened up there with Donald Sadusky, I do believe. We're going to back it up one more time, take a look. That happened up there in the front. Was that the number 19, Nathan Sylvia? Nathan Sylvia. We're going to back that up one more time. That was the number 19, actually. Number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky getting a bump from Gary Whitmer, but he's good and right. And then the number 19 coming across the nose, Richard Brose, then back up into the track. Nothing he could do to avoid that contact. But ladies and gentlemen, that will bring out our first caution of the night as the number 19 of Donald Sadusky comes across the bow of Richard Brose. Looking at it from the blimp view. It started off small, started off simple, and then it got really, really ugly. Looking like about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 10. Few drivers going to be getting him out of that hauler right now on lap 17. Halfway through a fuel run. The fuel run does set at 30 laps. Watching Gary Whitmer make his way into pit row in the Angels Never Die. Drivers would be smart to take 4 tires. Now, a little thing about it, folks. It takes as long to take 2 tires as it does to fill up your truck. You don't lose any time taking those 2 tires in a full load. You lose time when you take the next 4. So right now, Gary is already dropping positions as he does pit. But better safe than sorry. But Gary Whitmer only taking right side tires as he is ripping out of pit row with his teammate Edward Bray. Representing Black Talon Racing and KMA Racing, hot on his tail, and that should put Gary Whitmer restarting in second place position. We're going to let Gary work his way up through these gears, and then we're going to get Gary on the horn to talk about the Angels Never Die. How about it, Gary? Have you got a copy, sir?
I got you, Scott.
I tell you what, you've been doing pretty good out here tonight, being up there in front. Definitely a man on a mission. Talk to me a little bit about the Angels Never Die.
The Angels Never Die was put up by Over the Top Paints and Designs with Pad and Nikki in mind.
All righty, copy that. Now, at the beginning, we saw a brand new Pad video that you were issued out today. Talk to us a little bit about the Pad video and Pad and what it means to you. You actually met Mike one day.
I did. I went to the, on April 15th, I went to the Walk for Pad, which is a fundraiser and a walk for Nikki Kalini and the Pad and Nikki Foundation. The video I made today was just put together from screenshots and stuff that was either on Pad or Mike Kalini or someone's page that I found some nice pictures to add to the video.
Alrighty, well, we enjoyed that video. Very much good job on it. Now, as far as tonight's race, you are up here in front. You planning on trying to be up here in front most of the night or just on the final lap?
See how things go. I'm going to try to stay up front as long as I can and see what happens.
Alrighty, good luck to you, Gary Whitmer.
All right, thank you, Scott.
Gary Whitmer currently in second place position. How about it, Travis Prouder? Have you got a copy?
Scott, how you doing tonight, Cap?
I'm doing very good, Travis. We appreciate you showing the support for Pad on the rear end of the number M&M.
Yes, sir.
Now, Travis, you're a young driver. Your generation is highly at risk for the dangers of distracted driving with Pad. As a young driver at risk because of your age and the technology, how do you help out with Pad in keeping yourself alive?
Well, Scott, people against distracted driving, you got to focus on the road 100% of the time. Even if you got a racetrack racing or on the road or dirt road, any road you go to, you got to look. You got to always look what's in front of you, so you won't be distracted by people texting.
All righty, good words to live by, good words to stay alive by. All right, this is Talladega. Now, you had a good run there at Dover this past week, but this isn't Dover. This is a speedway. Anything can happen. What are your predictions out here tonight?
Well, going into tonight, hopefully we'll have a good, clean race for sure, and hopefully we'll have a fun race. Hopefully we'll see some green flag pit stops like I always wanted to see. And I'm also looking forward to Pocono this week.
Alrighty, well, good luck to you, Travis. We appreciate the support. Showing your support for Pad.
All right, thank you, Scott. Big shout out to Mike Kalini for tonight.
Travis Browder currently in 7th position. Rob Haynes out there on that front line. Taking a look at our running order after 19 laps of 16 laps of green flag racing. We've got a couple here under caution. Rob Haynes, Gary Whitmer, Edward Bray, Nathan Sylvia, Dustin Markham in P5. J.R. Johnson, Travis Browder, Ronald Klein, Lee Staples, Kevin Scott Nelson rounding out our top 10. William Wise, first driver, 1 lap down. Danny Rudy, 2 laps down. Greg McClendon, 2 laps down as well. Getting ready to take our first restart of the night after our first caution. 7 lead changes. We're going to get you into the cockpit of Travis Browder on this restart. Restarts are critical, folks, and they are hair-raising. Not only do you have to cycle up those gears, you got to make sure you're following the rules. You're not going 3 wide. No violations. You also got to decide how aggressive you want to be. We are on lap 20 of 100, 80 laps to go. 30 laps to a fuel run. These are the numbers that these drivers are calculating. Coming around the dog leg as Travis Browder drops it into 2nd gear. What a nice start there by Travis Browder as he does get up to the rear end of the number 66 of Edward Bray. Edward Bray rocking that rear end of the number 68 of Rob Haynes. Edward Bray up to the outside. Travis Browder staying all over Edward Bray. Lee Staples trying to get up to his teammate Edward Bray. Dustin Markham making his way up to the front of the field. Now being pushed by Edward Bray and the number 68, number 19, Donald Sadusky going onto that outside lane. Going to get a little bit of love there from the number 51 of Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer on the rear end of Travis Browder. Big, wide area down there on that inside lane. Plenty of room to get her done, and that is exactly the number 66. But Donald Sadusky, Travis Browder, Gary Whitmer Jr. making that outside lane work very nicely. almost have broken down into 3 packs. Nobody's yet lost the draft out here. But looking at the drivers there near the rear of the field, wanting to just kind of hang out, be safe, looking at Ronald Klein. Ronald Klein hanging tough with Richard Brose, Kevin Scott Nelson, and Donald Stewart. Joel Guy, Nick Reynolds back in the rear of the field. Mark Jackson currently in 19th position. And now we have indeed got 2 packs out here at Talladega in the race for pad 266. Lap 25 of 100. 9 lead changes so far. 2 packs, driver in rear of field, in danger of losing that pack, and that is something you do not want to lose out here at Talladega. That driver would be the number 3 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson tucking back up onto the number 54 of Nick Reynolds. Mark Jackson, Nick Reynolds on the same radio comms tonight, trying to get something going here on lap 26, dropping back a little bit further, checking in with Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson working with the number 21, Danny Rudy. Danny Rudy 1 lap down, working with Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson showing his support for pad. Marcus McFadden riding around with William Wise. William Wise 1 lap down as well. Really loving the way that Chevy Silverado out here is looking. Marcus McFadden started 24th. He is in 21st. William Wise started 21st, currently in 23rd position. 1 lap down. A little bit of front end damage there on the front of the number 32 Magical Butter. But nonetheless, he's looking sharp out there in those purple rims. Back up to the front. What a sight, ladies and gentlemen. Look at all that purple out there. Donald Sadusky head-to-head with the number 2 of Dustin Markham, Edward Bray, Travis Browder, Rob Haynes, and Gary Whitmer in the number 5. Nathan Sylvia running with Maximum Velocity, trying to get a win out here tonight for his team. Now, I do believe the winner of the prior race for pad was Paul Pellizier, and he did win it in a pad truck. Big shout out there to Paul, last month's winner in the monthly race for pad awareness. Nathan Sylvia trying to get something going onto that 3-wide situation. We are indeed 3 wide as Nathan Sylvia attacking that 3rd lane. Nathan Sylvia going to get some help there from the number 54 of Nick Reynolds and the number 3 of Mark Jackson. 3 wide action up in the front. Tighter than a hair in a biscuit here on lap 29 of 100. Outside lane, Nathan Sylvia dropping down. Had a big run there with Mark Jackson and Nick Reynolds. We've got Travis Browder, the monkey, in the middle. Dustin Markham moving back up to that middle lane. Outside lane falling apart. Number 19 into the number 14. Nick Reynolds coming back one more time. Richard Brose on that outside lane working with the number 3. Gary Whitmer in the number 5. Angels never die. He is in a tough spot right now. He is surrounded by a ton of truck. Caution is out. Taking a look at the number 30 of Ed Hewitt. Not sure. Nope, it was not Ed Hewitt. Looking up there at, I do believe that would have been Richard Brose. Richard Brose making a little bit of contact there. The number 3. Not sure if Richard Brose got into the number 3. Big chuck up. Going to look at it one more time. Actually, the number 3, Richard Brose, doing nothing wrong. The number 3 with a slight bumper hook there onto Nick Reynolds. That will bring out our second caution of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, in the race for pad. Tight 3-wide action there going on. Drivers out here having a good time showing their support. But unfortunately, a little bit of bumper hooking happening right there with Mark Jackson and Nick Reynolds. Nick Reynolds, no serious damage acquired. Not so sure about Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson limping his way into pit row. Now, I'm not sure if Mark Jackson is on his original truck or not. We have to remember you've only got one backup truck. So hopefully Mark will be able to get in there, get her fixed, and get back out. Second caution of the night coming out on lap 30. Appears as if the majority of the drivers opting to stay out, opting to go into pit row. Very wise decision. Danny Rudy staying out, hoping to get his lucky dog and free pass. Danny Rudy indeed getting that free pass. Richard Brose, Danny Rudy getting the lucky dog. Richard Brose suffering a little bit of damage. Mark Jackson still into pit row. Michael Johnson opting to stay out. Michael Johnson, a firm believer in pad. People against distracted at driving. How about it, Michael Johnson? Have you got a copy, sir?
10-4. How you doing tonight, Scott?
Doing very good. Always enjoy talking to you about pad. I know that is something that has touched your life personally. Talk to us a little bit about pad.
People get distracted driving, and it's all distractions, not just texting and driving or talking on your cell phone. It's everything that causes you to take your eyes off that road for a split second. That is a no-no, and I'm highly against it.
Alrighty, and we are taking a walk around the 004. Appreciate you showing support for pad with the great-looking logos. Now, talk to us about tonight's race here at Talladega. We're all very focused tonight, but this is a super speedway. What are your thoughts out here for the remaining 68 laps?
There's a lot of grip tonight. Tires seem to be holding up pretty good. There ain't too many aggressive moves going on. There's a few mistakes happening, but other than that, it seems to be a pretty good start of a race so far.
Alrighty, sounds good. You're in pit row. I'm going to let you go. Good luck to you.
Thank you. You have a good night. Thank you for what you do.
Michael Johnson showing his support for people against distracted driving. Now, that will put the number 19 of Donald Sadusky out on that front line tonight. He will be side by side with lining up with Nathan Sylvia, Travis Browder, Edward Bray, Nick Reynolds, Gary Whitmer Jr. still holding down a very solid 6th place position tonight. Big shout out there to Gary Whitmer. Rob Haynes back in 7th position. Ben Gear, Donald Stewart, Ronald Klein sitting in 10th. How about it, Donald Sadusky? Have you got a copy?
Yes, sir, Scott. How you doing?
Doing good, sir. Talk to us a little bit about your take on PAD, People Against Distracted Driving.
Well, it's a good organization. It's just you shouldn't text drive. It's distracting. You know what I mean?
Alrighty, copy that. You, sir, are in a very good position out here tonight. You started 4th. You're currently in 1st position. You think you're going to be able to hold down that position for another 67 laps?
There's a lot of good hitters out here, so I don't know. We'll see. I made a boo-boo the first time. I thought it was clear, and I took Richie out, by accident, but I should have, I was pretty bummed out about that.
All right, well, it does happen, and we know it was not intentional. So all you can do is move on. Nonetheless, good luck to you, and a very sharp-looking Ryan Sadusky Memorial Tribute truck.
Thank you, Scott.
Donald Carrot Top Sadusky in the Ryan Sadusky Memorial Tribute truck. Big shout out there to the Sadusky family. Hard time of the year for the Sadusky family, losing Ryan last month, the month of May of last year. So we're going to keep Donald in our prayers. Little picture of father and son there on the hood of the Chevy Silverado. Tonight we remember all of our loved ones that we have lost, not just by distracted driving, but any way, shape, or form. Tonight is all about staying alive. This is the monthly race for PAD. This will be our second restart of the night. Still looking for some green flag long runs. Drivers are at their just about at that window of a one more stop. Get about 38 laps of fuel. We're on 34, so they're looking at 64. Nope, they will not make it on one stop. They're going to be about 2 to 3 laps short on fuel. That could bring out a very interesting strategy. Mark McFadden still in the rear of the field in the number 40, but still alive, playing it safe out here. Travis Browder in third position. Travis tucked up onto the rear end of the number 19, side by side with the number 14 and Edward Bray, the number 66. And here comes Nick Reynolds on that inside lane. But what a jump by the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Very nicely done. But even though he is out there with a truck length and a half, they're going to catch him. Number 68, Rob Haynes, sliding up between Gary and Ed. Nick Reynolds rocking it just a hair. 76 of Ronald Klein, fourth truck on that inside lane. Side by side with the Boston Red Sox. Number 78, Donald Stewart. Very tight race in between the 78 and the 76. Thought they were going to do a little bit of scrape and paint right there. Nine drivers out here in this front pack. Ronald Klein, Donald Stewart, hanging off the tail end of that pack, not wanting to get up there and get mixed up in it. They refer to it as a hornet's nest oftentimes, but right now they're looking very sharp out here. Joel Guy and Michael Johnson just a stone's throw away from ninth place position of Donald Stewart and Ronald Klein in 8th. Joel Guy, Michael Johnson sitting in 10th and 11th. Staying just far enough back that if that caution does come out, they'll have plenty of reaction time, playing it safe here early on lap 37 of 163 laps to go. Donald Sadusky leading 9 laps. Nathan Sylvia leading 5. Rob Haynes leading 4. Richard Brose led 13, but unfortunately got caught up into a little bit of a hornet's nest himself. 9 drivers in that front pack, 2 trucks trying to catch that pack, and 4 more in the rear of the field. J.R. Johnson, Lee Staples, Danny Rudy, and Ben Gear. Danny Rudy in the number 21, Dan's Top Notch Heating and Cooling. Number 18, Ben Gear. 37, J.R. Johnson. And the number 64 of Lee Staples, Ben Gear, going out double file, wanting to take the number 21 with him, side by side, a little bit faster than single file racing. Now these drivers, they do need to pick it up a little bit. They're about 2 seconds off that leader on lap 39 of 100. Possibly able to just hang here for a little bit, but you got to keep an eye on those numbers. You do not want that front pack to get away. Ben Gear, Danny Rudy making something happen on that outside lane. 2.3 seconds back off of our leader. Michael Johnson, less than a second off of the leader, working with the number 91 of Joel Guy. Donald Sadusky doing a hell of a job out here tonight, staying attached to the rear end of Nathan Sylvia. Edward Bray, they call him the Reaper, running with Black Talon in the Chevy Silverado. Position 4, side by side with Travis Browder. A little bit of a checkup. Going to give a little bit of a bump there to the number 19. Gary Whitmer started 6th, currently in 6th place position on lap 43. Gary Whitmer showing support, remembering Nicky. Edward Bray leading 3 laps. Donald Sadusky leading 11. Bray and Sadusky side by side. Nathan Sylvia all over the rear end of Donald Sadusky. Now they are going to be coming up onto slower traffic. Looks like they will encounter that slower traffic possibly about the tail end coming down that backstretch as Nick Reynolds possibly tempting that 3 wide. Right now is not the time to go 3 wide. Slower traffic getting off of the track. That would be Billy Wise. Well, thank you, Billy Wise. Very respectable driver right there. William Wise. '68 of Rob Haynes in that third lane. Sliding down almost into the number 54. Pretty sure he knew where he was at. He knew he was there. Good driving. Staying very focused. Edward Bray and the number 5 of Gary Whitmer on that outside lane. 54 trying to get hooked up with the number 51 of Travis Browder. And here goes Edward Bray and Gary Whitmer one more time. Edward Bray trying to get something going on with Nathan Sylvia. Donald Sadusky up to 13 laps. Nathan Sylvia up to 7. Nathan Sylvia slight edge there with the number 19. Lap 46 of 121 lead changes out here. Only 2 cautions. Totaling out 5 laps. I've seen a good amount of green flag racing out here tonight in the race 4 pad. Ronald Klein sitting in position 9th, started out 20th. Joel Guy started 26th, currently is in 10th. Going to try to get something happening with Ronald Klein and RTK. RTK showing his support for pad as they do enter turn 1, taking lap 47 of 100. Michael Johnson, unfortunately, riding solo. Riding solo is a bad thing out here. We're talking about a decrease in speed from 190 down to 178. Do not want to be riding solo. Lee Staples in good hands with, I do believe, J.R. Johnson and Danny Rudy. These 3 drivers are going to try to get something happening very soon. Positions 12th, 13th, and 14th. Mark McFadden 1 lap down, 2 laps down, unfortunately, in 15th position. Nathan Sylvia out there in front position. Front 6 trucks looking like they're going to try to make a getaway. Donald Sadusky still resting very solid in position 3. Big shout out there to Becky Whitmer joining us on that KMA TV chat. Well, I tell you what, Becky, our guy, Gary Whitmer, he is putting on a fantastic show out here tonight. Gary Whitmer leading 1 lap. Gary Whitmer started 6th, currently is in 5th place position. Gary has been a front runner most of the night, and he's in very good hands with Edward Bray. Gary Whitmer Jr. driving the Remembering Nikki Angels Never Die. We saw a great video of the latest release of the pad video from GW Graphics. We are on lap 49 of 100. Speaking of that video, ladies and gentlemen, let's take one more look at that commercial video on our KMA TV 4x4 action. Big shout out there to Gary Whitmer. He is the videographer for KMA Racing. Check him out on YouTube with GW Graphics. Gary Whitmer doing the intro video, the outro video. Gary Whitmer doing an awful lot for KMA TV and KMA Racing, and never asking for anything in return. Gary Whitmer, one of the good guys, and we are 3 wide at the front as the number 68 of Rob Haynes. I'm not sure if he meant to get up there into that outer lane. I'm not sure if anybody's going to stop and pick him up. Joel Guy, Ronald Klein making their way up to positions 8 and 9, and they have caught that pack. Does appear Joel Guy may try to give a little bit of draft there onto the number 68 and keep the number 68 into the game. Huge track out here at Talladega. 2.66 miles. Speeds upwards of 197 miles per hour. Beautiful night out here at Talladega as the sky does begin to grow dark. One more time, driver getting below and out of the way. Big shout out there to Marcus McFadden. Rob Haynes hanging on to the rear end of Joel Guy like a fat man hanging on to a donut on his first day off of a 7-day diet. Joel Guy working with RTK Motorsports. RTK onto the rear end of the Boston Red Sox, number 78. Travis Browder sitting in 6th position. Tell you what, very impressed with Gary Whitmer out here tonight. Edward Bray down in front of the number 19. Donald Sadusky taking the lead. Gary Whitmer getting help from the number 54 of Nick Reynolds. Lap 54 of 100. We are about 10 laps out of a green flag pit stop out here tonight. Gary Whitmer down to the inside lane, abandoning Nick Reynolds in the upper lane. Ronald Klein looking at the rear end of the number 78 Boston Red Sox. I always have to joke with my good friend Donald and tell him he needs to get into a St. Louis Cardinal Chevy Silverado. Joel Guy very tight onto the rear end of Ronald Klein, representing RTK Motorsports and KMA Racing, the number 76. In truck with Joel Guy, watching the number 54 Nick Reynolds, getting a little bit of help from the number 68 of Rob Haynes, going to make their way back up there to the front of this pack. Rob Haynes giving Nick Reynolds everything he has got here on lap 57. Donald Sadusky leading lap 57. Donald Sadusky leading 18 laps out here tonight. Nick Reynolds side by side with the number 66 of Edward Bray, trying to chase down Travis Browder, Nathan Sylvia, and Donald Sadusky. Nick Reynolds with a big run with the 8 of the number 68 of Rob Haynes, but Edward Bray on that inside lane. Nick Reynolds side by side with Gary Whitmer. Gary Whitmer, 5th truck on that inside lane. There is smoke up in turn 3, smoke in turn 3. What's going on up here, folks? We've got a smoker. Don't smoke and drive, brother. No caution will fly. That might have been J.R. Johnson. I'm not sure. It is indeed J.R. Johnson. J.R. Johnson doing a little bit of smoking on track, and he head off into pit row. Not sure if the engine blew on the number 37 of J.R. Johnson, but nonetheless into pit row for J.R. Johnson. Back up here with Donald Sadusky, Nathan Sylvia, Travis Browder, and Edward Bray. Donald Sadusky leading up to 20 laps out here tonight. Straight line formation. Damage onto the rear tailgate of the number 76 of Ronald Klein. A little bit of damage there. Really will not affect it a whole lot. Big shout out there to Joel Guy in the Love It or Leave It. And there's caution. And we are looking at Nathan Sylvia. Let's see what happened here with Nathan Sylvia. It's all looking good. And Nathan, so right there it is. Oh no, Travis. Now, Travis, a great driver. Just not quite sure. A little bit of a wiggle. Edward Bray, Travis Browder, Nathan Sylvia. Bumper to bumper. Tighter than a hair in a biscuit. Looking at it one more time. And around goes Nathan Sylvia. That will be our third caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we call turning the trucks. Third caution of the night coming out on lap 60 of 140 to go. 24 lead changes. Appears Gary Whitmer is alive and well. Travis Browder looking at some serious damage on the number 51 of Travis Browder. Definitely will be going into pit row underneath our third caution of the night. Edward Bray into pit row. Donald Sadusky into pit row. Donald Stewart, someone was showing some rear end damage. Lee Staples on his way out of pit row. Travis making his way out as well. Donald Stewart out. Sadusky out. Edward Bray out of pit row.
Tried to come
How
back.
about it, Edward Bray? Have you got a copy, sir?
Got a copy, Scott.
All righty. I was taking a look at these great-looking trucks around here. Thank you for the support. But I'm looking at an interesting logo on the rear of your truck, Bikers Against Child Abuse. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes, Bikers Against Child Abuse is an organization that sort of helps out with children that either, the different types of abuse that they might have gone through, helps them with the court dates, get their self-esteem back, actually help protect them, from any further incidents that might happen. So, most of the bikers that get together and protect the children.
Alrighty, sounds like a good cause. So far, not a bad night out here tonight. That was kind of crazy what happened with you up there in the front. Y'all were nose to tail there with Nathan Sylvia. Been some great racing, though. What are your predictions out here as we do close down on the final 39 laps?
I do believe there's going to be some more heavy, hard racing. That was just a bad incident, bad checkup, I do believe. I know I was all over Travis's rear end and, did apologize to those guys. But I think there's going to be a lot more shuffling going on now, and hopefully we can take this home under green.
Alrighty, copy that. So far, so good. I appreciate the support for Pad, and a big shout out there too. Bikers Against Child Abuse.
Thanks, Scott.
Edward Bray started 7th, working his way up to position 2. Ronald Klein with RTK Motorsports started 20th, currently up into 4th place position. How about it, Ronald Klein? Have you got a copy?
Yes, sir. Scott, go ahead.
Alrighty. Wow, you are the big mover of the night. You started 20th. You're up into 4th place position. But you got a little bit of damage there on the rear end of the Chevy Silverado. Is that going to affect the performance out here tonight?
Wow, I didn't even know it was damaged, Scott, to be completely honest with you. So, no, I don't think it's going to.
All right, it is very minute. You just got a little cave in there on your left side from what I'm seeing up here. Very colorful looking Chevy Silverado. Talk to me a little bit about that paint job.
Are you seeing me in the orange flame truck?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's one of my own designs. I like flames, not the traditional ghost flames down, that start at the front. These are coming up from the bottom of the truck basically all the way around, and then I found this really cool logo for the back deck, and it kind of overlaps the top of the roof there, and that's my little paint job. Arcade Paints and Designs.
All righty, looking very sharp. Now you have a win in this past week as well as Travis. Do you think you're going to get her done tonight for RTK?
There is a chance if we can stay out of trouble, work with our teammates. If I've got it, if I'm up front, I'm sure one of my teammates will push me. But tonight is all about working together, trying to keep the race as clean as possible. This is for a great cause. So it's really going to come down to who's in the front, basically. If somebody's in front of me and it's got KMA and I know they're KMA, I'm going to push as hard as I can to make sure they win. If it's not, I'm going to work with my teammates to try to get around that person.
All righty, sounds like you got it all worked out. We appreciate you showing the pad logo on the side of the RTK Chevy Silverado as well, sir. Good luck to you.
Thanks, Scott. Have a great night.
Lap 63 of 100 underneath our third caution of the night. 26 lead changes. Drivers will be doubling up. This is the monthly race for Pad 266. People Against Distracted Driving. Check them out at padd.org. Check them out on Facebook. Lots of good information out there, ladies and gentlemen. If I can leave you with one thought tonight, distracted driving, it does kill. We want nothing happening to our fans or our drivers. We don't want anything happening to anybody. So you have to do your part, ladies and gentlemen, by educating, awareness, talking with your loved ones. Talk to your worst enemy about it. Spread the word about PAD. PAD.org, People Against Distracted Driving. Donald, Edward, Gary, Ronald, and Lee in our top 5. Travis Browder, Joel Guy, Danny Rudy, Rob Haynes, Donald Stewart, rounding out our top 10. Drivers doubled up, ready to go back to Green Flag Racing now. Let's talk about that fuel strategy. They're looking at 31 laps maximum, 36 to go. We could possibly be seeing Green Flag pit row action in as early as 5 laps, depending upon what these drivers work out for a strategy. They have to ask themselves, do I think there will be another caution? Do we want to run it dry? Either way it goes, they're going to be approximately 4 laps short onto a 1 pit stop. So they're going to have to get in pit row and work out that strategy. 36 laps to go, 30 laps to a tank, lap 64 of 100. Pace car is in. Donald Sadusky, Gary Whitmer on that inside lane, side by side with Edward Bray and Ronald Klein. Travis Browder, third truck on that outside in the M&Ms. Beautiful start right there. No distracted driving going on right there on that start, ladies and gentlemen. They were hooked up, booked up, getting ready for more Green Flag Racing out here in the race for PAD 266. Edward Bray down in front of Donald Sadusky, taking that almighty inside lane front running position. Donald Sadusky giving a little bit of a boost to Edward Bray. Gary Whitmer, third truck on the inside. Currently in position 3, side by side with RTK. Travis giving everything he's got to Ronald Klein, but the inside lane being a little bit more dominant. Side-by-side action with Lee Staples, Ronald Klein, Travis Browder. Joel Guy still a front runner sitting in position 7 tonight. Rob Haynes up in that outside lane. 8 trucks battling it out hard and heavy. J.R. Johnson in the number 37, about a half a click back. Showing his support for Nicky with the purple rims. Very tight up onto the rear end of the number 64 LA Graphics, Lee Staples. In car with Joel Guy. Nowhere to go for Joel Guy. About as tight as you can get onto the RTK number 76. Travis Browder, same position, same scenario, nowhere to go. Ronald Klein working with Donald Sadusky. Gary Whitmer Jr. all over the rear end of Edward Bray. Edward Bray, nothing but clean air out there in position 1. Edward Bray working with Gary Whitmer Jr. Gary Whitmer Jr. started 6th, currently in 3rd position, doing a hell of a job out here tonight. Big shout out there too. Gary Whitmer Jr., Edward Bray, Donald Sadusky, Ronald Klein. Edward Bray up in front of Donald Sadusky, going to give Gary Whitmer that inside lane. That will put Lee Staples up to position 4 on lap 70 of 100. Taking a look at our KMA TV replay. Not sure exactly what happened. A little bit of a bumper hook right there by Travis Browder. Ooh, tough break there for the number 76. We're going to back that up one more time. Travis Browder narrowly, barely touching the rear end, and away goes the number 76 of Ronald Klein. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am thinking there was a little bit of net code going on with that. We're going to jump up into the cockpit of Ronald Klein. He went for a heck of a ride right there. Upside down all around. Tough break for both Ronald Klein and Travis Browder. That will be our 4th caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen. While these drivers are underneath their 4th caution of the night, going to sneak one more commercial in, and we'll be right back with you. Fourth caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen, lap 71 of 100. Edward Bray, Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky actually staying out. Gary Whitmer, J.R. Johnson, Edward Bray, Travis Browder in pit row. Donald Stewart, Michael Johnson. Lee Staples sitting in pit row. Been a very good night out here. Was hoping for some green flag pit stops. Oftentimes they're hard to come by. A couple of drivers have been out here really doing an awesome job. Donald, Edward, and Gary. Unfortunate break there for Travis Browder. Getting a little bit of a bumper hook there into the number 76 of Ronald Klein. Ronald Klein hoping that we can get the number 76 RTK Motorsports back out here on this super speedway track. How about it, Joel Guy? Have you got a copy, sir?
I sure do, Scott.
Alrighty, we've been talking to several drivers out here about the dangers of distracted driving. Now, you're an older gentleman like myself. You know, back when we got our license, Joel, there were very few distractions other than a radio or a pretty girl. So, as you have seen the evolution of the cell phones and all the gizmos and the gadgets, as an older gentleman, give us a little bit of insight here on PAD.
Scott, it is murder out on the streets now. I've rode down the road and seen people reading newspapers sitting beside me at 70 mile an hour on the interstate, scared the pants off of you. People just think they are invincible, and they're not. And they're going to kill someone, and that's why we race and we promote people against distracted driving, because it will kill you. I mean, like I said, I've seen people putting makeup on. I've seen them reading newspaper, reading paperback books, texting, all kinds of stuff while they're driving, shaving, you name it. I've seen it on the roads, and it's not nice. It's not a pretty sight, and we need to put laws in place to stop it, because somebody will get killed, as they already have, like Nikki.
Alrighty, and we are looking at the number 91 Chevy Silverado. We appreciate you showing the support, not only for the Marines right there, but with the purple numbers, the purple rims. We all know that purple was the color of Nikki Kaleni. So thank you, Joel, for coming out tonight. Now, what about the race, though? We're at 27 to go. Drivers should be fueled up. You think you can get her done tonight?
I'm sure hoping to get her done tonight, Scott. I don't have any damage right now. I've still got my backup truck in the garage, so I'm hoping to bring this one to the start-finish line at the end of this race.
Alrighty, now a few drivers, speaking of that backup, a few drivers are already out and down for the count tonight. Dustin Markham, he's down 40. Ben Gears down 27. But you've got a brand new truck there sitting on the hauler waiting for you. Is that going to change how you're going to drive the next 26 laps? Are you going to be a little bit more aggressive knowing you've got a security blanket?
No, because driving aggressive, all you're going to do is possibly cause an incident and take yourself out and put yourself behind the 8 ball, especially if you have to get towed.
Alrighty, very wise words there spoken by the number 91 of Joel Guy. Good luck, Joel Guy, and thank you for your service in the United States Marine Corps.
Thank you, Scott. And the reason I'm in the Marine truck tonight is my pad truck didn't get finished getting repaired and re-decaled by trading paint, so I couldn't run it tonight.
All right, but you are looking very sharp in purple, and I thank you for that, sir. Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
Donald Sadusky, Edward Bray, Gary Whitmer, Lee Staples, Donald Stewart, our top 5. Donald Sadusky leading 29 laps. Edward Bray leading 11. Gary leading 1. But I tell you what, you can lead all 99 of 100. But there's really only one lap that matters that you lead, and that is that final lap. This will be our 3rd restart of the night. We've had 4 cautions, totaling out 11 laps, 30 lead changes. Very exciting race out here tonight in the monthly race for PAD. In car with Joel Guy. Shifting into 3rd gear at 122. Fourth gear drop at 154 in the apex of turn 1 and 2. Hang on to her, Joel Guy. Things heating up here at Talladega. Donald Sadusky, Gary Whitmer, positions 1 and 2. Gary Whitmer going up to the outside lane. Gary Whitmer one more time getting hooked up with his teammate, Edward Bragg. Gary is clear, getting the signal from Edward to go down. That will hook up Edward Bray and Lee Staples. And Lee Staples and Edward Bray running out here for KMA Racing and Black Talon Racing. Black Talon, a sub-team of KMA Racing, much like RTK Motorsports with Brad Ream and his teammate Ronald Klein. Ronald Klein back out onto that track in the RTK Chevy Silverado, but unfortunately 3 laps down. Danny Rudy, severe damage onto the rear end of the number 21. Michael Johnson, position 9, working with Travis Browder. Travis Browder still in it. Travis Browder in 7th position. Travis Browder sporting a lot of damage on the front end of the Toyota Tundra. Travis needs to be extremely careful right here. He is on his last backup truck, and it's got damage on it. He's going to have to take care of the Toyota Tundra. Donald Stewart up to the front, leading his first lap of the night on the outside lane, side by side with Donald Sadusky, Gary Whitmer. Gary and Ed have been just doing an awesome job out here tonight. Edward Bray leading 11 laps. Gary Whitmer up to the leading 3. Becky Whitmer rooting on Gary Whitmer Jr. tonight. And he's in a very good shot. 22 laps to go at the Super Speedway in the monthly Race 4 Pad 266. Drivers running lap times in the mid 49. Donald Sadusky with a fast lap of a 48.5. Last lap 49.067. Edward Bray giving a lot of love out here to the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Will be very interesting to see who goes with who once we get down to that go time. Will Lee go with Ed, or will Ed go with Gary? Will Gary stay with Donald, or will Joel Guy and Gary Whitmer try to work out something and blow past everyone? Joel Guy charging his way up alongside Edward Bray and the number 66 and the number 78 Boston Red Sox, Donald Stewart. We've got 2 Donalds up here in front. Last night we had 2 Lees out there in front, Lee Staples and Lee Ryerson. Lee Ryerson currently 47 laps down, having to take her to the hauler tonight. 10 drivers on the lead lap. Danny Rudy, that 10th driver. Ronald Klein, 3 laps down, sitting back in position 11. So there is still hope for Ronald Klein. He would need to get the lucky dog 3 times to get him back onto that lead lap, and with 20 laps to go, certainly do not want to see 3 cautions out here. We're wanting to see a green flag finish for tonight's Race 4 Pad. We'll not be seeing any green flag pit stops. Underneath that last caution, all drivers did go into pit row and get fueled up. Lee Staples staying a very respectable distance off of his teammate Edward Bray. Bikers Against Child Abuse. KMA TV loving the logos out there on the Reaper number 66 of Edward Bray. Remembering Ryan Sadusky. Nice picture there of Donald Sadusky and his son Ryan. Gary Whitmer with a good run on that inside lane. Going to get him up to that third place position. Loving the purple out here. These drivers are showing their support for Nikki Clenny. Up front with Donald Sadusky. Nothing but clean air out in front for Donald Sadusky. Gary Whitmer onto the rear end of Donald Stewart. Plenty of room out here on this 2.66 mile speedway. But when you're down here on the track, it looks a lot tighter than what it really is. You can actually fit 4 of these Silverados across this track. Looking at some 3 wide possible development here with Edward Bray. Taking her back down to double foul. Gary Whitmer leading that inside lane side by side with Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart leading 6 laps out here tonight. Gary Whitmer currently in first place position on lap 84 of 116 laps to get her done tonight. Travis Browder started third, currently is in 6th place position side by side with Edward Bray. Joel Guy making his way up to 4th place position. I had just talked about Joel Guy and Gary Whitmer possibly wanting to get hooked up. This might be the opportunity that Gary Whitmer has been looking for now that he is hooked up with Joel Guy. He's still got Edward back there. He's got Donald Stewart. I got a feeling that it's going to be a KMA feller winning tonight's race for Pad. Donald Stewart traveling at speeds of 194, 195 miles per hour. Donald Sadusky leading 32 laps out here tonight. I have a feeling Donald Sadusky will be the gentleman that leads the most laps out here tonight, leading 32. Donald Stewart on 8. Gary Whitmer leading 3. Edward Bray leading 11. Donald Sadusky getting a big push from the number 66 of Edward Bray, starting to make time in that middle lane. Joel Guy contact with Gary and Donald. Joel Guy, Gary, and Donald on that inside lane. almost bumper to bumper and nose to tail. Gary Whitmer all over the rear end of Donald Stewart. Well, that's how you got to get her done, folks. If you ain't a pushing, you are not going to go very far out here on this speedway. Gary Whitmer backing off the tail end of the 78 just a hair. Gary Whitmer at speeds of 195, 196 miles per hour. Edward Bray, Donald Sadusky still trying to make something happen on that outside lane. "34 lead changes out here tonight in the monthly Race 4 pad, and these drivers are not done. Now we can sit here and talk about lane preference here for a while in the final 8 to 10 laps. I myself prefer down on that inside lane, but I have seen that outside lane develop. Very tight action with Joel Guy and the number 19. You got guys that prefer the outside lane, guys that prefer the inside lane. Guys like Richard Brose actually prefer that third lane. Edward Bray, more of a high lane type driver. But at this point in time, the only lane that matters is the lane that's going to get you into the winner's circle. Donald Sadusky, very good chance tonight. Edward Bray. Lee Staples working with Edward Bray. Even with the damage on the nose of the number 51 of Travis Browder, he is still able to make an impact out here tonight. Edward Bray, Donald Sadusky making a run. Donald Stewart drifting up, opening up the front door for Gary Whitmer. Joel Guy pushing on the rear end of Gary Whitmer, going to get him up into that front position. That will put Gary Whitmer out there in that P1 position. That'd be truly an awesome deal for Gary Whitmer to win tonight's pad race. He did do the brand new pad video. We've watched it a couple of times, so that would be a really awesome bonus point there for Gary. Gary Whitmer recently meeting Mike Clenny, founder of PAD, in the Walk with PAD just a couple of months ago. Lap 91 of 100, 9 to go. Gary Whitmer, Donald Stewart, side by side, positions 1 and 2. Donald Sadusky up to the wall. A little bit of trouble there for Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky fighting back, still has Edward Bray. Travis Browder getting a little bit loose. Travis Browder trying to make a move. Lee Staples nearly 3 wide. Seven laps to go. If you're going to get her done, you got to get her done right now, folks. Travis Browder knowing this. That would be a huge win for Travis Browder if he can bring the beat up Toyota Tundra into victory lane tonight. But I tell you what, folks, I do believe Gary Whitmer has got a very huge chance of winning tonight's race. Donald Stewart, Gary Whitmer, Donald Sadusky, Joel Guy, Edward Bray, Lee Staples, our top 6. With 6 to go, lap 94 of 134 lead changes out here tonight. Big shout out there to the fans on KMA TV for showing up tonight, showing your support for PAD. Well, stay tuned next week, ladies and gentlemen, as we do continue on with our second week of our Monday, Tuesday, Friday night action. This week we are running Pocono. Oh no. Yes, it's Pocono in week 2. Monday running the Xfinity class for Pocono. Tuesday, the trucks at Pocono. And Friday, the Gen 6s, the big old cars. Donald Sadusky up there on that outside lane, possibly in a little bit of trouble. Donald Sadusky floating to the back of the pack. Must have got out of sync. Nonetheless, that will put Edward Bray leading that middle lane. Edward Bray getting help from the number 37 of J.R. Johnson. 76 up into the middle lane. Spooked Travis a little bit. Plenty of room, but it was tight. But Travis falling back into line with the number 76. Michael Johnson, P8. Donald Sadusky falling way back into pit row. Possibly a fuel situation for Donald Sadusky. Thought he had gone into pit row with the pack. Maybe not. Travis Browder looking at a little bit of 3-wide action here with 4 to go. Michael Johnson going to sit here and try to rock and roll with Travis Browder. Travis Browder has got a ton of truck to work his way through. Lap 96 of 104 to go. Travis Browder taking it 3 wide, but just cannot get the go to get around the number 76 of Ronald Klein. Ronald Klein 3 laps down at this point in time. Ronald is trying to help anybody he can. Joel Guy trying to help out Gary Whitmer. J.R. Johnson working with Edward Bray. Edward Bray side by side with Donald Stewart. Gary Whitmer, position 2. Great racing out here tonight for the Race 4 Pad 266. Loving the purple rims out here. Loving the paint jobs. Loving the support for Pad. People get distracted driving. Edward Bray with a big run on that outside lane. But here comes Travis and Lee. Huge run. Huge run on that outside lane. That'll put Edward and JR down there to the front line. Edward Bray, J.R. Johnson, Lee Staples side by side with Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart, position 3. Gary Whitmer dropping back to position 5. Lap 98 of 100. Lee Staples, Travis Browder. Looks like Travis Browder might be having a little bit of a steering issue. Ronald Klein trying to help out Joel Guy, move him back forward up there to Gary Whitmer. Edward Bray, J.R. Johnson, Donald Stewart, positions 1, 2, and 3, lap 99 of 100, ladies and gentlemen, in the Race 4 Pad. Donald Stewart, they're getting antsy, they're getting dancy. Donald Stewart down, contact between Joel Guy and number 5. Oh no, say it isn't so. What a crazy race ending. It ain't over yet, ladies and gentlemen. We are 3 wide contact with Gary Whitmer and Travis Browder. What a way to end the race for Pad, ladies and gentlemen. Still underneath green flag racing. And that will wrap her up, ladies and gentlemen. Edward Bray will win tonight's race. And we are waiting for the official race results to come in. But that will put Edward Bray out there on that front line tonight. Edward Bray bringing home a win tonight in the race for Pad 266. Now the stats are showing Lee Staples will take second position. Michael Johnson will take third position, but do not quote me on that until we do check out our race results very quickly to verify. Edward Bray, J.R. Johnson, and Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart bringing home position 3. All right, we're going to get in some driver interviews, ladies and gentlemen. How about it? Donald Stewart bringing home position 3 tonight.
Hey Scott, how you doing?
Doing very good. You did a really good job out here tonight. Talk to me about your race.
Wow, pretty exciting there at the end, huh? Well, I just hung in the back for a little while, and I worked my way up front and played around up front for a little while, and we were just doing fuel strategy, and we were about to pit on that one caution around lap 60 something, I think, and caution came out, so that threw our pit strategy out the window. So we got our fuel and tires and fought it to the end, and we did a lot of teamwork at the end there, jogging, everybody back and forth positions and getting people here and there to set up a KMA win.
All righty, well, very good job. You were up there most of the night showing your support out there for the Boston Red Sox. Appreciate the purple rims. Good job to you, Donald Stewart, P3.
Thank you, Scott.
All righty, how about it, J.R. Johnson? Now, you were just kind of a sleeper out there until the final lap. Talk to me about that last lap.
Wow. I don't know. That was just insanity. I was just trying to push the heck out of Edward to the win there, and I kind of got come around turn 3, I think it was, got slung out a little bit and lost my line behind him, and got bumped, and it was nearly a wreck. Almost got wrecked and just kept on going. Heck of a race, though. It was fun.
All righty, heck of a race indeed. You are a little bit beat up on the left side, but you're looking very sharp out there in those purple rims. Purple for the fallen angel, Nikki Clenny. We appreciate the support out here. J.R. Johnson, position 2.
All right, thank you.
All righty, how about it, Edward Bray? Bringing
How
her.
about it, Scott?
How about that? Talk to me about those last couple of laps.
Man, that was some wild racing there. I mean, it was, trying to, the whole KMA team was trying to work together, and, it was just, jockeying, trying to figure out, we were all in communication together, and then the bottom line sort of, backed off a little bit, and JR and I got a run, and it was like, all right, well, I guess we need to go ahead and just take it and see what happens at the end. But that last lap, that was wild. That's all I got to say.
Very wild indeed, and I think all the drivers did a great job. We saw a lot of teammate out there, teamwork action out there, especially with Gary Whitmer, Joel Guy. You, Donald Sadusky, ended up with a very strong finish tonight. Any final thoughts out here to our fans regarding Pad?
People against tractor driving, don't do it. I mean, put on your makeup, eating, reaching down for that drink, it just takes that split second, and your life can change for the rest of your life. I mean, it's you might take your own life, you might take your family's life, or you might take somebody else's family's life. So don't do it. If you need a text, pull over. If it's that important. Other than that, pay attention in front of you. Pay attention to your surroundings. Leave that phone, drink, food, leave it alone. Wait till you get to your destination.
All righty, very good advice. All right, Edward Bray, the Reaper, number 66, Black Talon Racing, bringing her home tonight in the Race for Pad. Good job, Edward.
Thanks, Scott.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a look at those race results one more time, and then we are going to work our way out of here. I am Scott Kolovic. This is KMA TV. Big shout out there to our fans. Stay tuned in the upcoming week as we do head out for a trip to Pocono on Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the support in the Race for Pad. We'll catch you out on Monday night.